Hello everyone, thank you for tuning in. My name is Daniel Creel, Ambassador of Pinseeker and owner instructor at VC Golf, and in this video we're going to be covering weight distribution. Weight distribution is super important. So we've got our basics down. Now we're going to make sure our weight is correct on the takeaway and on the downswing. Why is that important? The best thing, I can reference a few sports here, and I use these examples for all my students that come through my bay, is let's just go back to a quarterback, okay? If a quarterback threw off their back foot like this, I don't think a coach would really like that very often, and probably they wouldn't be a starter, even if they made the team. What would happen is they would throw an interception most of the time. Is that not correct? Baseball players. If a baseball player never loaded up and just kind of threw off their back foot instead of transitioning to their front foot and throwing, they wouldn't be a very good pitcher. They would be playing shortstop or outfielder, or probably none of those because you got to throw in those as well. So they'd probably be riding the bench. So again, football, you throw on your left side, right? Not much weight on the back foot when you release. On baseball, you do the same. And here's the one that really demonstrates the best. And if I had my pressure mat here, which I don't, you can go look me up, look at my YouTube channel or look at the Pinseeker videos, and you'll see basically my pressure mat in use. And you can go to V1 Sports and check out some of their videos. And again, I've done some webinars with them, and you can see me describing, and I go into detail on how other sports could advantage through the pressure mat, and I use them as examples. So tennis, if you were to hit basically a little underhand here, if you hit off your back foot, you would hit it over the fence and the tennis ball wouldn't be into play. So what happens is you're going to be on that left side and you're going to be opening up as you're hitting the tennis ball, like that. Same, very similar movements in those sports and golf, okay? Say if we're going to skip a rock, and I really like this example because skipping a rock, you got to get really low. So you got to get on that left side to get that rock really low and to pick up speed. If you hung back on your back foot, the rock would go in the air and pretty much fly into the water and then dive. So those are all examples. We want to get to our lead side as much as possible. And before I start, I want to recommend you need to find an instructor close to you that has a pressure mat. They're very, very important, and it's good for you to see, because what I kind of see in golfers is they do really good in transitioning their weight, and I can see the center of pressure on these pressure mats, and it's graphed out, and I can see the pressure going to the lead side, but just before impact, so we're coming down, we're transitioning, and right here, weight tends to start going back to the back foot for a split second, and then it fires back through. You want to find those little hiccups and you want to improve it, because you can't really feel it because it's happening so fast. So again, I do recommend that you get on a pressure mat. It's going to help you control the low point, which means more solid shots. Also help your dynamic loft, which means less loft coming through at impact, and leading with the hands, which means further distances and more solid shots. So we're going to gain distance and hit the ball more solid. All right. So let's jump into the swing. So what I like to see, and then you can see I've got my alignment rods. Remember, back to basics. You always want to set these up. And I can see I've got my wedge in a good position. So when we take the club back, we've got to load on our right side. It's important to load on the inside of our right side, because we got to use all that weight that we load on our trail side to push off the inside of my foot. It's going to make me go towards the target, which is where my weight needs to go. It needs to go to the lead side of my body. So too often I see people kind of sway a little bit back, and the weight tends to get on the outside of their foot. And when it gets on the outside, it's hard for them to be consistent or efficient at getting their weight back to their front side fast enough, because again, the weight's on the outside of the foot, which kind of promotes me to hang back or push off to behind me, and we just don't want that. So what we want is when I rotate back, I can lay a club here, and I don't want this club to fall over that way, and I don't want to move closer to the target. I want to keep kind of a consistent angle to this club. Basically rotate. Sorry, I didn't have that in a good spot. So here, 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 here. You can see that that club stays relatively in the same spot. So if you're on a video and you have the ability to video yourself, what I recommend is drawing a line straight from your foot to here. And if you go past that line, you don't want to do that, even if it's just a little bit. And if you move towards the target, I don't really care for that either. I like just a solid rotation, and basically this leg, all it's doing is staying in place and we're rotating. That's going to load weight on the inside of our foot. So, and what happens is the next sequence is the transition up top. So just before transition up top, we should have our weight going forward. The weight distribution should start already moving to our lead foot before you finish your transition. Let's think about this. So if I were to play in tennis, I would be going back as I'm moving forward. See that? If I'm throwing a ball, I'm winding as I'm stepping forward. So again, the backswing still hasn't completed, but the hips start firing. Just like that. We call it stretch. It's called the kinematic sequence. We can graph. Basically, your body should fire from the ground up. So we have the lower body starting to rotate, weight shifting going. Then our thoracic rotation, our torso should start rotating. Then our lead arm, and then our hand finally. Most golfers, what I see is they do it with the hands. They pull with the hands or the arms first, and then the body kind of comes along. Or they all fire at the same time. And when they fire at the same time, or the hands or arms fire, basically you don't get that stretch that we're looking for, that disassociation, where we can get a lot of power and a lot of speed. And again, you're just not maximizing your efficiency, so therefore you're not hitting it as far as you're capable of. So what I like to see is, as we're getting to impact, I would like around 80 to 85%, up to 90% of all your weight into your left side, and I want it to stay there, and then we fire on through. So here's a drill or two for you guys to use to your advantage and to practice in your indoor simulators. So here I am, and you can see I got the ball in the middle of my stance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the ball this time, and I'm going to move it up to my front heel, as you can see. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring my club back to where I would normally hit. And for me to hit this ball, I've really got to get to my left side and hit the ball. And what that's going to do, there's so many good side effects of this drill. Our angle of attack is going to improve. Basically, our weight distribution is going to improve. Our dynamic loft is going to improve. And ultimately, our swing speed and ball speed is going to improve. The ball is going to go typically left of your target. If you're a left-handed golfer, it's going to go right of your target, because we're hitting the ball on the around side, the left side of our arc, so the club's traveling left. So again, the face is going to be shutting. So this is not an accuracy drill. It's just we want to hit the ball solid. So let me demonstrate. You can see, hit that ball pretty good. I caught it clean. If you're hitting it thin, most of you will hit it thin. That means you haven't gotten your weight on the left side efficiently. You need to be able to make solid contact with this drill, okay? Our next drill is, I call it the step drill. Again, it's kind of like baseball. You step into it and you go, okay? So this is the step drill, and this is going to help. I prefer personally the one we just did, but again, some people really like this one. And when I put people on pressure mats, basically I go between the two drills, whichever one becomes easiest for them. And the one that, gives me the best results is the one I tell them to practice. For me, it's the other one. Again, for some people, it's this one. So I'm going to remove this. I don't need this one here. And I'm going to address the ball normal. What I'm going to do is bring my front foot back to my trail foot, okay? And what's going to happen is, I want you, once this arm gets parallel to the ground, you should be stepping forward and getting that weight going forward, okay? I don't want you to get up here and then step forward. That's practicing it wrong, and that's doing exactly what I don't want to do. I want the weight transitioning forward as the club is finishing the backswing, okay? So this is going to help you on timing of the transition and feeling that, okay? So here we go, back here. And I don't want you to step way up here like baseball. I want you to step back to where you normally would and hit the ball. All right. Bring this foot back. And there we go. So that's two drills for you to work on weight distribution, and this is going to help you hit the ball a little bit further, increase dynamic loft, keep our acceleration through impact with our hands, and also our weight distribution. So all that's going to make us hit it better and increase distance. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope you practice this, and you can't practice it enough. Honestly, people, you don't want to just do this for a week or 2 weeks. This is something that you need to kind of go back to and make sure your weight distribution is good, because what I find is people go back to their old habits. If you tend to get on that back foot, you're going to eventually start going back that way, so keep it in check, all right? Again, remember, you're in a golf simulator, you're in a controlled environment, you can do this, okay? So work on this, and I promise you will definitely improve. And again, sorry, now it's it for this video. Make sure you click the next link and watch the next video, and we'll get started there. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Happy pin seeking.